Hey, what is up, everybody? This is your boy AJTRIP, and welcome to the game according to me. We are going to do our normal um podcast. We're going to talk about the NCAA. We're going to talk about the NFL. Talk a little bit about Major League Baseball, but we're going to start off. We're going to just go right into this. We're going to start off with the biggest story um of the week, and that's the John Gruden situation. Um, I'm sure all of you know by now, but if you don't, let's really quickly recap. John Gruden. It came out last Friday, this past Friday, that John Gruden had sent some emails to Washington football team GM Bruce Allen, who's the GM of the football team at the time. In 2011, he sent an email in which he called DeMaurice Smith, the head of the NFL Players Association. He said that some of the fact that he had lips so big of Michelin tires. Um, which is kind of a racial trope because back in the day when white people would make fun of black people, we would go to the big lips, the bigger lips. Black people, one of our characteristics is that we have bigger lips than other races. Now, that's 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 one of those things where not everybody has them, and vice versa for the other races. Not all the other races have slimmer lips, but but that was one of the characteristics. And when they would make fun of us and do minstrel shows, they would put on the black face and everything like that. It's one of the things they do. They would do the things and they would put their lips out and stick them out and protrude them and turn them inside out or whatever to make it make it look like that he was a black person, right? Yeah, all that stuff. So that's where that's where that racial trope comes from of the big lips. So that came out. He apologized for it. He said that wasn't him and everything like that. So yada yada yada. Then last night it comes out that there are more emails, and he's using the F word that rhymes with maggot to describe Roger Goodell. He is um, saying that Roger Goodell shouldn't have forced um, Jeff Fisher, who was the coach of the St. Louis Rams at the time, to draft Michael Sam, um, who had before the draft came out of the closet and said he was gay. But he said that she shouldn't have been forced to draft queers. Um, he said a lot of other misogynistic things about women referees. Was did not like the fact that women referees were being integrated into the game. Unhappy about the player safety measures that are going on in the league, and it was just a treasure trove of idiocy that came from the mouth of John Gruden. Um, and that all came out through the New York Times being leaked to them allegedly from probably inside the NFL. Um, um, also going along with, he also talked about the kneeling and things like that, the protests of the national anthems. So that was also part of those emails as well. So all of that came out last night, and within minutes of it coming out and it being thrown onto Twitter, seemingly within 25, 30 minutes, John Gruden had resigned from being the head coach of the Oakland Raiders. Um, from what Adam Schefter says, um, Mark Davis, the owner of the Raiders, drove to the facility, talked to John Gruden, and then minutes later, John Gruden resigned. Um, really quick, I'm going to go here because they're talking about it right now on Get Up. This is the statement he put out last night. I have resigned as head coach of the Las Vegas Raiders. I love the Raiders, but do not want to be the distraction. Thank you to all the players, coaches, staff, and fans of Raider Nation. I'm sorry. I never meant to hurt anyone. And well, see, that's the thing, John. You did mean to hurt people. It's just not the people that you did hurt. You meant to hurt Roger Goodell. You meant to hurt DeMaurice Smith. But instead, you hurt people who um, you hurt your own teammates. You hurt your own teammates. You hurt your teammate Mike Tirico, who went on Sunday Night Football and said that he had, because these back in 2011, well, when he was the color analyst for Monday Night Football, and Mike Tirico was working beside him. And Mike Tirico went on Sunday Night Football and said that this is not the man that I know. I don't believe this is the man that I know. This is not the man that, you know, says these things. And he doesn't. So and he denounced what he said, but he said that we should believe him. It makes Mike Tirico look stupid. Mike Tirico is one of the good men in this business. For those of y'all who are thinking, well, because someone put it out on Twitter last night, people who worked around in him, they knew all this stuff. No, they didn't. You can't just say that. Just can't say that. Because Mike Tirico is a man, and maybe I shouldn't say this because I wouldn't have thought this John Gruden would be this way, but I'm gonna say this anyway. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong, and I'll admit when I'm wrong. But I think Mike Tirico is the type of man that wouldn't put up with this shit. Mike Tirico isn't the man that if John Gruden would say this stuff around him, he would say, John, what the fuck are you saying? What are you feeling that way? He would if he said what he said about Michael Sam, or if he used the word to disparage, John Gruden, John Gruden used to disparage Roger Goodell, the F word. Or even if he had told him, if John Gruden was ignorant, and let's say we could all be ignorant to certain things, and maybe he doesn't, and so maybe him saying to about DeMaurice Smith that his lips are big and Michelin tires, so maybe he doesn't put that together about that's a racial trope and everything like that, and he would say that to Mike Tirico. Mike Tirico would have a man that would say, John, you can't say that about a black man, and he would explain to him what I just said to y'all about it. About the history of that. And, all of it is just it's unreal. And he hurt Mike Tirico. He hurt many other people. He hurt his team. Carl Nassib came out this year as gay. He came out and during the off season. He plays for the Raiders. And this is why that was so so accepted and so wanted and so loved when he did, because of this reason, because John Gruden, who is in a power position of who plays and who doesn't, and who makes the team and who doesn't. If he has those thoughts and feelings about homosexuals, right? And maybe he doesn't, maybe he's just old school and he thinks that you can say the F word and it means, oh well, I mean being a sissy and you're being a pussy, because he did call Roger Goodell a pussy too as well. He did say that. And so maybe you can use these words, right? And just say, well, I didn't mean it in that way. I wasn't trying to. Well, it still hurts them. It still hurt. It hurts. I'm sure Carl Nassib was hurt by the fact that that his coach used that F word, right? And there's and again, that's why it was so thin when it comes up, because if you're gay and you play football, you never know who has those type of feelings. So if you come out and you're not the type of player that Carl Nassib is, right? Maybe you're on a lower tier. Maybe because they might have that prejudice against gay people, right? And you come out as gay or bisexual, then you lose. Then you have opportunity to not get any playing time. Maybe you get the opportunity to not even lose your job, right? Yeah, you might lose your job to someone who is less talented, but he isn't gay, right? he isn't bisexual. It is unreal. And, see, and all of this stems from the Washington football team um, story from last year. If you guys may remember, um, during the football season last year, during all that turmoil last year in 2020, when Washington Redskins at the time went through all that turmoil about trying to change their name to the Washington football team, and that's what they did, and everything like that. Then a story comes out about the stuff that was happening inside their organization, the misogyny, the perhaps sexual assault, and all the other stuff that was going on in that organization from guys higher ups trying to get women to take topless photos with them, or take topless photos to send to people, or to go to rooms with people. All of these other things, right? And some of the, and that's where these emails came from, because John Gruden was emailing Bruce Allen, who was the Washington football GM, Washington football team GM back in 2011. I don't know if he still is now. I can't remember, but that's not germane to the story. I don't think he is, but it's not germane to the story. About at least about Bruce Allen. What is germane to the story is that you can kind of say that last year's story was trying to take down Dan Snyder, the owner of the Washington football team. And it didn't take him down. He didn't lose his team, and actually, in fact, he gained more. He gained more from it because he bought out his partners, who was part owners of the team. He bought them out. So now he's completely sole owner of the Washington football team. I think he gave a little bit to his wife. He gave a part to his daughter. They are technically owners as well. But Jan Snyder owns the majority, so he's basically the owner. I don't even know what they really have to do with it. They probably just own it just so in case that when if Jan Snyder were to pass away, they they are the ones that take over basically. Anyway, but what comes from this is what happened with John Gruden and what happens with now the Las Vegas Raiders and him now resigning from his post. It's amazing, guys. It's amazing. It's it's really unreal. I tell you, it is shocking. Sometimes I'm not shocked when things like this happen. I'm not shocked to hear this. It doesn't even faze me. It really doesn't. It's well, talking about last year with the football team, all those stuff's come out. Oh well, okay, yeah, that's. But because I expect people to be, I expect there to be bad behavior and things like that from people. I don't I want people to be good people and treat people with respect and not try to be dicks about everything and everything like that. But it happens now. So, but this is shocking. I think this is shocking for for so many reasons. But I think one of the biggest reasons this is so shocking when it comes to John Gruden, and I think that's because of the personality that he had. He was on football and he was on Monday Night Football and he was an affable guy. He was an affable, humanly type of person. And there was talks about him taking over the video game franchise when that untimely day that we lose John Madden. That possibly we can even that John Gruden would take over the football thing and the football game, and it would be John Gruden football. Because they was already talking about John Gruden taking over for John Madden for being one of the you know great color analysts in football history. So there was all that, and so that type of person being so affable shocks you that he has that that in him, that in him. And I am not one to make you know statements, huge statements, right? Especially nowadays, the last 5 years, people do that. We find out that someone uses a word, something like that. Like for instance, we just go back to I believe it was earlier this year. Morgan Wallen, the country artist, um, caught on camera using the N word, right? And you just kind of and the first thing you go through is oh well, he's racist. He's a racist. And I'm not one that does that. No, he's stupid. He's stupid. He's ignorant. The fact that he thinks he can say that word, I'm out in the open in public like that, like he did, and he got caught on video, right? So, I think that's too. And not necessarily racist. That doesn't necessarily mean that you're racist because you use that word. And Gruden is not necessarily racist because he used a racial trope. He's not necessarily homophobic because he used a slur or he thought that, Michael Sam shouldn't have been drafted. Um, and again, and that's accusation. I don't know if the NFL forced the Rams to draft Michael Sam. I know that I do know that NFL wanted him to be drafted because it's good publicity that hey, and that brings in another organization. And listen, when Carl Nassib came out, they immediately went to a commercial. They immediately put out a commercial talking about inclusion of the LBGT community, right? So it's all of that. But then they decided to, it's but you can't just be that. You can't just say those things. And many good points were made on Get Up in the Morning too. The fact that he was just so opening to body to put this into an email. So and this also could ask you like, what does this say about Bruce Allen? What does it say about Bruce Allen? Because this was just seriously put into an email, right, to Bruce Allen. Does Bruce Allen feel the same way? Because they were talking, right? So does Bruce Allen feel the same way about the same way John Gruden does? But if he is, then what's up with him? Again, I don't think he's with the Washington football team anymore, and maybe then that's good, right? Because he was a GM. He's also a person who knows who can be cut, and who can have a job and this and that. So again, you're talking about why there aren't many openly gay and bisexual men because guys like Bruce Allen could take their job away if they're not you know if they're a marginal type of player, right? So I spent almost 20 minutes talking about this, and so yeah, I'm gonna get to the sports. Um, and there are a lot of things to talk about, but I think the last thing I'm gonna speak on say about this is just that I just think in this day and age, we really need to look at ourselves and really see, just really look at ourselves and really see what it is about us, right? That makes us us, and the kind of people that we want to be, and the kind of people that we want to be around, and everything like that. And what I don't want to do is I don't want to have to question the people that I'm around, right? I don't want to have to question the people. This guy, does he have, or does he think that yada 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 this way, or does he believe yada yada that way? I don't want to do that. And to be honest with you, I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna focus on how people treat me, right? I always have, and I'm going to continue to. But I know there are gonna be people out there who are gonna be like, I gotta worry about this, Jesus, I gotta worry about this guy being this way, you know. Again, think about what you said about the women and the women referees, right? And that they shouldn't be there. these women have to deal with that every day, right? You know, am I going to make it far in this company because I'm a woman? And there's a man, up there. Does he feel that women should even do this job? All of it, all of it, all of it, all of it. I hope we can come to a day when that never happens, but I think it always will happen because the way this country is right now, I'm not certain anything is ever going to be in the way it should be. Okay, with that being said, now let's get to the sports. Let's get to the actual games on the field like we should be doing. Let's start with Major League Baseball. You've got three games today, all game fours. Um, Houston leads the series 2-1 against the White Sox. They play today. We've got Atlanta leading the Brewers 2-1 in the series. That's game four as well. And San Francisco leading the Dodgers in the series 2-1. All games could end today. Last night, another game ended. Boston won the series 3-1, beat the Rays, which is very shocking where Boston was and Boston went to. Boston has had some cheating accusations on them as well, and they didn't have a that good year last year. They were last in their division. They've come back to make it to the ALCS, leading the Rays 3-1. So that is amazing. Good job on the Red Sox. I'm happy for Kyle Schwarber. He makes it to another championship series, former Cub. And so yeah, so we got all game for us today. By the time next week, we could be and we should be um, into the NLC in the ALCSs, right? ALCSs, yeah, the American League and National League Championship Series. So we should be into them, and and we'll see what happens. I predictions. I think um, I think at least two series ends today. That's what I'm gonna put out there. I think at least two series end today. Which series ends? Don't don't tell me. I'm not. Don't let me know. I don't. I'm not gonna predict that. I'm just gonna predict that two series ends today. So on to college football this past Saturday. What a weekend! We had bloods galore, and we had high scoring games galore, and we had some of the great matchups and a couple of upsets. We're going to start. Coastal Carolina beat Arkansas State 52-20. Cincinnati beat Temple 52-3. Arizona State took out Stanford 28-10. Ohio State beat up Maryland 66-17. Oklahoma beat Texas 55-48 in a great comeback. Once again, for the second year in a row, Spencer Rattler was removed from the Red River Showdown, and his backup came in and just played his heart out. I don't think you can go to Spencer Rattler anymore. He was a Heisman Trophy candidate. He was a guy thinking about maybe being drafted, and I have no idea what's going to be next for the poor man, poor young man. His draft stock, he might have been a first round pick. He probably doesn't make it, to the first round now. He probably is second or third round pick. So unless he's off the charts, but being benched 2 years in a row in the game is probably going to hurt him, and he probably doesn't play anymore this year. Florida shut out Vanderbilt 42-0. Another great game. Mississippi and Arkansas State came down to the wire 52-50, 103 points. Amazing. Arkansas scored a touchdown, went for two, did not make it. Mississippi wins, and Lane Kiffin is incredible. Defense was optional. in both games, Oklahoma, Texas, and Mississippi and Arkansas State happened in the early window, and and you had to go back and forth, between both games and checking out. It was incredible. Michigan State beat Rutgers 31-13. An upset. Boise State beat BYU. BYU's chances of making it to the college football playoff is now over. 26-17. Boise State with the upset. Wake Forest beating Syracuse 40-37 in overtime. With the Demon Deacons are now ranked as 16th. SMU beats Navy 31-24. Georgia, now the number one team in the nation, beat Auburn 34-10. Iowa beats Penn State 23-20 in a barn burner in Iowa City. I think that's where they're at. Michigan beating Nebraska 32-29. Michigan's a good football team. And they just surprisingly after what happened last year and everything, and going on with Jim Harbaugh, he has this team rolling. They're running the football, and they aren't doing it like Georgia would do it, and they ain't doing it like some other teams, but they're a really good football team. Kentucky beats LSU 42-21. Notre Dame had a barn burner with Virginia Tech, beat them 32-29. Texas A&M upset Alabama 41-38, last second field goal to win it. Jimbo Fisher is the first Nick Saban former assistant to beat Nick Saban. Good on them. And San Diego State beat New Mexico 31-7. Wonderful week of college football. It started with the high-scoring games of the Red River Shootout in Mississippi and Arkansas, and ends with the barn burner with Notre Dame, Virginia Tech, and then Alabama and Texas A&M coming down to the last final field goal. Some great games. We have now. Let's see. So here are really quick here. Here are the top 5 teams. Georgia, Iowa State is Iowa State. Iowa's 2. Cincinnati is 3. Oklahoma's 4, and Alabama is 5. So if things stay the way they are, and I think that they will, right? And we don't know because the playoff committee could think differently about the teams. But if they think about the way the teams the way the AP does, then it'll be Georgia, Iowa, Cincinnati, and Oklahoma, and then you're gonna have that, and then you're gonna have that spot, right? And this is what I talked about where Cincinnati could get screwed, right? Because Georgia and Alabama don't play in the regular season. Georgia and Alabama is going to meet in the SEC championship game. So if everybody continues to win, everybody goes on and wins all of their games, right? It's going to come down to Georgia and Alabama. And here's what I'm talking about, right? We get to the SEC championship game, and Alabama beats Georgia. Do the playoff committee take Georgia out of the playoffs? Do they take Georgia out of the playoffs? And put Alabama in, which you would, right? Or or do you keep Georgia in the playoff and then take out Oklahoma and Cincinnati? But then who do you take out, right? And then that's why I think Cincinnati gets screwed, because I think the committee would then say, well, we need to take Oklahoma because Oklahoma is undefeated, and it's an undefeated Oklahoma team. Cincinnati, great, but it's Cincinnati. They deserve it, you gotta take them out. That's why I think Cincinnati still gets screwed. So I think many people, myself including, are rooting for Cincinnati to go ahead and continue on and make this playoff. Be the first non-Power 5 team to make it into the playoff. But with that said, we can still get screwed, and that's where a lot of us are worried. Let's look at what's happening up in the next this next Saturday. Which, by the way, Big Ten. Shout out to the Big Ten. 5 teams in the top 10. You got 5 teams in the top 10. SEC who? Big Ten all the way, baby. So let's now just check these out. So Friday we have San Diego State versus San Jose State. We also have Oregon versus California. Saturday we got Florida, LSU. We got Oklahoma State versus Texas. Texas A&M versus Missouri. Michigan State versus Indiana. Cincinnati versus Central Florida. Arkansas and Auburn. Kentucky and Georgia. That's going to be a good one. The number 1 team, Georgia, against the number 11 team, Kentucky. Purdue and Iowa. BYU and Baylor. Alabama and Mississippi State. TCU in Oklahoma, Mississippi and Tennessee, NC State and Boston College, and then Arizona and Utah. There's probably some other games too, but once again, I'm just worried about the top 25 teams. So, but there probably might be some other good games as well. Again, it's up to Cincinnati, Iowa, Oklahoma, and Georgia to stay on point. Stay on point. I don't. I haven't. It's if you want to continue to make it into the playoff, you got to keep winning. You can't look past Purdue. You can't if you're Iowa. You can't look past TCU. If you're Oklahoma, you can't look past UCF. If you're Cincinnati, you can't look past Kentucky. And Kentucky's a good team, but Georgia Tech is blowing out these good teams. So it's going to be amazing. That's going to be a good game. That's probably the game of the week. Kentucky versus Georgia. The NFL now. Thursday night, the Rams and the Seahawks. They had a good game. Rams beat the Seahawks 26-17. Finger injuries galore. Matthew Stafford hurt his finger. Russell Wilson hurt his finger. Hurt his finger so bad that he had to have surgery. He will miss 4 to 5 weeks. They're gonna go with Geno Smith for the Seahawks. In London, the Falcons beat the Jets 27-20. The Patriots had to come back from behind and beat the Texans 25-22. Vikings beat the Lions 19-17 on a last-second field goal. The Lions have the poor Lions. They're playing so hard, and Dan Campbell was very emotional afterwards. After the game, he was in tears because he wants this win so bad for his players, and you can see it. I hope they get it very soon. The Eagles beat the Panthers 21-18. Saints beat the Washington 33-22. Titans beat the Jaguars 37-19. You wonder the Jaguars having a hangover over Urban Meyer's. Urban Meyer's the transgressions, which by the way are now persona non grata, right? Obviously last night there was a lot of those jokes on Twitter. Urban Meyer thanking John Gruden for doing what he did and getting him off of the tabloid page and things like that. Buccaneers beat the Dolphins 45-17. Tom Brady 5 touchdown passes, playing insane right now. He continues on. He's gonna if he may. I don't think he will, but he may. He's on pace to throw for over 6,000 yards. First to ever do it. It's insane. Speaking of insane, 5 missed field goals within the last several minutes of the regulation overtime for the Packers Bengals. Finally, we had one where Mason Crosby finally hit a winning field goal. Packers 25, Bengals 22. Unreal. Steelers beat the Broncos 27-19. The Bears beat the Raiders 20-9. Chargers and Browns had a crazy game where the Browns basically pushed Austin Eckler into the end zone to score 47-42. Chargers beat the Browns. Justin Herbert really having a fantastic year. Another person having a fantastic year, Dak Prescott. Cowboys beat the Giants 44-20. Giants just lost everybody. Lost Kenny Galladay. Lost Saquon Barkley. Lost Daniel Jones. So, hopefully all of these guys will be better and best enough to play next week. Cardinals beat the 49ers 17-10. Trey Young. No, Trey Young is an NBA player. Trey Lance has a sprained knee, so who knows if he can play. They may have to go back to Jimmy Garoppolo. The Bills beat the Chiefs 38-20. Josh Allen just playing out of his mind. I know a lot of people are playing out of their mind, but Josh Allen to me is the one that's really playing out of his mind. I'm the first couple of weeks you were wondering maybe just Josh Allen, was he not being regularly, but the last 3 weeks Josh Allen has proved that he is just he's having a hiccup here and there, but he's still as good as he seemed last year, and so he's incredible. Beat the Chiefs at home 38-20. And I don't know what's wrong with the Chiefs. I really don't know what's wrong with the Chiefs. 2-3. you know, you shouldn't count them out because they have that guy Patrick Mahomes. Andy Reid is a great coach, but I'm not certain what's happening with the Chiefs. People have seemingly found out what you can do with the Chiefs. That's basically you put two people back in the zone, and you play cover two, and you just keep back there in the zone, and then you just try to make them to go dunk and dunk down the field. And apparently, right now, Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes are not patient enough to dink and dunk themselves down the field right now. So yeah, but that's Chiefs have some work to do. And last night, amidst all of the stuff going on with John Gruden, there was a football game, and the Ravens came back from big time. Came back. It was 25-9. They came back and they tied it up. They took it to overtime, and then they scored in overtime. Ravens won. Um, Lamar Jackson had a hell of a game, and he had a hell of a game passing, which is what you want to see. You want to see him have that thing better. He was 37 of 44, 43 or 44 for over 440 yards and 4 touchdowns. That's what you want to see. 62 yards rushing. That's what you want to see with Lamar Jackson. You don't want to see Lamar Jackson, you know, be 17 of 28 for 200 yards, a touchdown, interception, but he don't have 100 yards rushing. That's not what you want to see. Yeah, sure that may get you a win in the regular season, but that's not gonna get you in the playoffs. And that what he did there. That's how you win in the playoffs. That's how you make a comeback. So that's good to see. Hopefully Lamar Jackson can continue this, can step up his game passing wise, and hopefully he will. Hopefully he will end up having 4,000 yards passing, showing that he can be a passing, and showing that he is worthy of a contract extension. Because right now, yes, I didn't get his contract extension. Baker Mayfield and Lamar Jackson are also eligible for a contract extension. But I think right now, if you were either team, Baltimore or you were the Browns, like there's no way you're giving him $200 million, over 8 years or something like that. Something like that. Try to, anything like that. I think you just can't do that. You have to show them to, and that's why you have the franchise tag. The thing with both teams, there's a possibility that you would franchise both players, and then you would see how they would continue on because you know they're good players, and you just don't want to throw them away, but you can't pay them the money that Josh Allen's getting paid, and definitely the money that Patrick Mahomes is getting paid, just because that's just that's um that wouldn't be a good thing to do. I tried to come up with the word. I can't come up with the word. That's how you know you're getting old, folks. You can't find the word that you're looking for. But yeah, that was But no, let's go ahead and I almost forget how I do this. Let's go ahead and let's look at week 6. The week 6 games. We got the Buccaneers and the Eagles this Thursday night. We had the Dolphins and the Jaguars. There seems to be a bit of a Florida thing going here with the Dolphins. They're taking on the Buccaneers. Now they're taking on the Jaguars. Vikings and Panthers. Chargers and Ravens. Texans and Colts. Rams and Giants. Chiefs and the football team. Packers and Bears. That's an interesting one because the Packers aren't really the Packers just yet. They could be, and the Bears are doing it, with Justin Fields, where they're running the ball more than they're throwing it, and that's not how you win games either. So, but they have to do it because Justin Fields is a rookie quarterback. So that could be interesting. The Bengals and the Lions. Can the Lions get their first win? The Bengals need to bounce back from that crazy loss at home. Cardinals and the Browns. That's another interesting one. The Cardinals are undefeated. The Browns just had their loss and everything like that. The Cowboys and the Patriots, Raiders and the Broncos, and we really have to focus in on that with everything that's going on with the Raiders, the John Gruden resigning, and how they're going to play a game. I don't know. Sunday Night Football, the Seahawks and the Steelers. We just talked about it. Seahawks without Russell Wilson. They're going to go with Geno Smith on the Steelers. They had a bounce back game. Can they keep it continue? And then, of course, Monday Night Football, Bills and Titans. That should be really fun. Derrick Henry running the football and Josh Allen passing the ball. That should be really fun as well. And I also think that's the game when Hayden and Eli may come back, for that game. So I know they're going to take a couple week hiatus. They may be back for that game. I'm not sure. Don't quote me on that, but but it's going to be a great game. So quickly before you go, a programming note. Next week is the start of the NBA season. So if I can remember, I'm going to try to make myself remember. Not only will next week we'll be talking about the playoffs and of course do a normal NCAA football and college football stuff. I want to try to do some stuff on the NBA. Give you my thoughts on the season. Give you my thoughts on things like that. Give you my predictions on like who might win MVP and who might win other awards and everything like that. What the teams might be the conference finals and the finals winners. So I might do all of that next week if I can remember. I'm gonna make a note as soon as I get over this. So yeah, we'll have to see what happens next week. Ben Simmons is reported to training camp with the Sixers, so that's something I didn't expect. But we were also the trade talks are still in talk, so we'll also see what happens with them. So yeah, thank you guys so much for listening. Thank you guys out there for being around, listening to this. This is interesting, y'all. Still, the John Gruden thing is still just wow. It's just wow, yeah. Well, anyway, thank you guys so much for listening. It is your boy AJTRIP signing off. As always, be good to each other, y'all. Be careful out there. And I am out.